Hey guys!
Hey guys, so good to see you again. I'm Dr. Holly, this is Sebastian.
Yes.
And today we're going to talk about
Seed, pros and cons of growing from seed or growing from plant starts.
Yep. And then if you want to grow from seeds, some really good brands that we know of that we'd like to recommend.
Yes, that we personally use.
Yes, exactly. So we have a list here because our brains were scattered, so we wanted to just make it concise. So starting off with pros for seeds.
Yes, so I would say the most obvious pro is they're more economical. For one packet of seeds, you can pretty much buy one plant start, like a tomato plant versus a package of, I don't know, 20 to 80 tomato seeds.
Yep. I also say the satisfaction of just growing your own plant from seed to this huge harvest is really fun.
And growing from seed, another pro would be the seeds typically, when you grow from seed, the plants tend to be a lot stronger because they don't have to go through a lot more like transplant shock and things like that.
Right. Another thing about seeds is that, well, I'd say two pros together is that it's just so fun to plant seeds with your children. It makes it's easier, so that's another one. It's easier to plant than a actual plant, and you can just scatter them, and it's fun for kids. So I like that a lot.
If you see me looking down, I'm looking at our list to stay on track. And for plant starts, we would say...
I want to add, we forgot one. So one pro about seeds, we'll show you, is there's more varieties. So
which can also maybe be a con because then you go nuts buying a ton of seeds.
Which we have. So we'll show you our seed stockpile soon. So
a plant start pro would be, I guess the most obvious would be as well that you just get a head start on things. You don't have to wait 3, 4 weeks, 6 weeks.
I like that.
You know, and you can just have, come spring, you're ahead about a month or so, and then your harvest time will be a lot quicker.
Yeah.
To me, that's huge.
That's one of my favorites, is just you can pop all the plants in and they grow big quickly. Another thing that's nice about plant starts is that they're usually really hardy or hardier than seeds, and especially if they've been hardened off, which means they're not grown in a greenhouse and then you just plant them. They're exposed to the cold elements or the wind and the rain, and they are hardier. So that's what hardened off means. So you want to look for that.
Well, not the cold elements, but the sunshine. They're
depends, I guess, the season of what kind of plant it is.
And they're just exposed. They're ready to go. The leaves are hardier.
Yeah.
Plant starts would be another benefit or pro would be higher chance of survival because you don't have to keep the plant alive as long, right? Because when you plant it from seed, especially if you're planting and growing indoors with either indoor light setup or something like that, grow light setup, there's a lot more babying involved with seeds versus that. And then the other thing that I don't think a lot of people think of when they buy plant starts, another benefit is you can actually take cuttings. So for example, a basil plant, just buy one and then just take cuttings, root them, and you can actually get basil plants, a lot more of them, a lot quicker than that if you started from seed. Because you can literally take one cutting, root it in about a week, and then you have a brand new plant, as opposed to taking it from seed and it takes you a week.
Did your mom do that all over?
Oh, my mom always cut everything, even illegally.
We won't mention that.
We won't mention that. That was in Puerto Rico.
One thing I really like is that you can just plant it and you can, it's just big and you can see where it's growing, versus seeds, you have to go back and thin them, and it's just more more abstract. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just a plant and you can see where it is, and it's easier to
That helps my brain too, because you're not wondering if it's going to come up or not.
Right.
And then you have your spacing. I just like things neat, tidy, and you can make a design a lot easier. Right. So for my brain, I like the garden to look neat and tidy and all organized. And
And another pro is that they're potted up. So that's so nice because that's what we do. We have a nursery where we don't add any chemicals to it and all our plants, but we do the work for you. We pot them up. And that can sometimes, if you have a whole tray of all these seedlings, that can be a lot of work.
You take them from when they're tiny, and then you just keep growing them larger and larger in larger containers until they're ready to go for retail, for sale to you guys when you buy them. Locally here in South Carolina, if you're local.
That's right.
But let's move on to the cons. So there's always pros and cons to anything, but this hopefully sharing the light as to pros and cons for both will help you make a better decision as to what you prefer to do.
And honestly, we do a lot of both. I love plant starts because it's just easy and you can stick in and have a lot of plants, but we also like to do a lot of seeds too. So it's fun to do, I think, a mixture.
Oh yeah. And so cons for seeds would be I would say grow light setup. If you're really serious about doing everything from seed, then you'd have to have some sort of indoor growing setup. And grow light setups can be pretty inexpensive to pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, it requires some space, some management, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
The second point, which I already mentioned, is indoor space. So especially
they can take over your house.
Exactly, when you have to pot them up. So if you have tomatoes that you're growing indoors, and those tomato seedlings, they grow pretty fast. But then they get to a certain point, you have to bump it up to more soil size. Then you got excited about 120 some plants in a tray that you started, and then you have to bump them up.
Yeah.
We've never done that.
Never done that.
And then the house has never looked like a tomato jungle never.
Or our chiropractic office.
Or a chiropractic office, where we have in different rooms set up grow light set up in a chiropractic office. So
it happens. Yeah.
The next con would be
hardening off.
That's my least favorite.
Yeah. So hardening off, like I said, is getting the plant used to the elements, and it can be tricky. So you can lose your plants that way sometimes.
Yeah, and honestly, I harden off the hard way. I just like throw them out there. I'm like, if you make it, you make it. If you don't, So potting up is another one that we mentioned.
Yep.
But we'll mention it again as a con. It's more work.
Yep.
And then the other con is germination rates. So a lot of the seed packets will give you a percentage.
Right.
So you typically plant 2 or 3 seeds depending on the type of plant you're growing. And the percentage of which ones will actually come up is usually 80 to 90. 90 is going to be on the higher side plus.
Right.
But sometimes you'll get seeds that are 70%, but typically the better quality seed, the higher the germination rate.
Right. And also remember, if you have old seeds, which most of us do because we have a lot of seeds, each year that passes, it's going to lose some of that percent of its germination.
Yes.
So you want to plant more seeds because of that.
And then also another con would be that it just takes knowledge of each plant that you're growing. So there are beginner plants that you can start from seed that are a lot easier, but some plants do require a little more knowledge. So some have what's called like cold stratification, where you have to put it in the fridge for a certain amount of time because they like to cool before you...
When we moved, I still had seeds in a year later that I forgot to take out
in our fridge. They've had a long dormant season, if you will.
Whoopsie.
So we have a fun announcement. We are interrupting this broadcast.
That you're viewing.
For a fun announcement we almost forgot to make.
Yes. So if you are local, this will benefit you. If you're not, it won't yet. But so a lot of you guys know we have our nursery where we have our plant starts, and we have our chiropractic office in Malton, South Carolina. And this year we are going to start carrying seeds. So we are so excited because we just love anything with plants, and I am starting to get a lot of my seeds and plants going, and starting to seed stuff like winter sowing. So we're going to be offering a lot of seeds in the office, at the chiropractic office. So we'll put announcements all over when they are in and when they're available. But keep an eye out for that. I know we're going to have some really good varieties too.
Okay, and the cons for the plant starts, we would say, number one, it's probably just more expensive. So the cost, like I mentioned before, for a packet of seeds versus one plant start could be pretty equal. Another con that I would say for the plant starts would be more work to plant, depending on if you're planting in raised beds or in the ground.
Right.
I'd say especially in the ground, it's more work.
Yeah. Another con is, just like we said with the pro for the seeds, just flipped, is that there's fewer varieties. You can't find as spun or heirloom or different varieties as you can with seeds.
Yes, unless you really dig into your local areas and kind of see what they're all doing.
That's what we try to do, is offer some really fun varieties.
Yeah, we try to get all the basics and then some really fun, in lower quantities, but some really fun, different varieties. Yeah. So the other con we would say would be not knowing how it's grown, meaning if they use chemicals or not, the seed, where it came from, if it's genetically modified seed,
the soil,
the fertilizer.
So we're super picky about what we put on our own and plants in the nursery, but you don't always know what businesses use.
Yes, so the other side with seeds, you can grow them, you have full control, and you know exactly what goes in there. The other con, we would say, is they can be prone to transplant shock.
That's a sad day.
But it can be easily avoided if you do certain steps, and then you make sure you water it well, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you do plant the plant and it has transplant shock, because the roots are messed with quite a lot, the plant can literally just sit there until it, my phone's ringing. The plant will just sit there and not grow, and sometimes seeds will just be faster.
Yeah, and sometimes you can just be like me and not give up on it, and it might bounce back. So
yeah, she loves in her plants and talks to them, so I think that's what makes her
carries
successful.
them through. So now we're going to go through some seed brands. Seed brands
that we like.
Yeah, a lot of questions of what are good brands. So top one that I really like is Baker Creek Seeds. They are known, well, they're organic, but they're also known for their amazing rare varieties and heirloom varieties.
More unique type
so you can see there's this one, Glass Gem Corn. Luke and I grew it 2 years ago, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's like just rainbow corn. It's so pretty.
And the website is rareseeds.com for that one.
Thanks, Luca.
Another one of our favorite seed companies is M.I. Gardner. He actually has a YouTube channel that you should check out because we love it. I've learned a lot from him. And he just explains things really well. Great quality seeds, great price. And also he has a pretty darn good variety. I wouldn't say as rare as rareseeds.com, but still a pretty darn good variety. And you can
organic.
They're organic. If you go on, I think most of them are, correct me if I'm wrong, but really good. And then another one of our favorite companies as well is Johnny's Seeds. We really like that their whole back section is loaded with information how to start seeds, and also if you don't really know much how to start the seed, you can actually go on the website, find the actual seed packet, and then they have a ton of information. So I even just go on there just to learn about the seed and what to do.
I will mention though, they are, I don't know if they're made for, but they're tailored to farmers and nurseries and growers. So last year we were blessed that we could get a lot of seeds when other people couldn't pretty far into spring because you had to be a business to be able to order at that point. So that is why I think they have all the information too. So just note ordering time about that.
And seeds and plants this year, I've noticed that they're selling out faster.
Yeah, so that's why we're going to try to get a lot growing for everyone.
Yes. And then also, so your hoarding is coming in handy of seeds.
Knew it.
True Leaf Seeds, or True Leaf Market is the brand. I love the packaging, but a lot of them are not organic. Some are, so we usually get just the organic ones, but they have great seeds.
Sorry to interrupt. Same with Johnny's. I can't remember if we mentioned that, but some are organic, some are not.
Yes, and a lot of this is mainly good for microgreens and sprout seeds. Kind of why we go with them. So mainly we shop. This is. Except this is California Wonder Pepper, but most of our seeds...
a lot of microgreens, a lot of sprouting seeds.
In bulk, specifically.
Yes, exactly.
So
that's... Oh, I didn't get to show you. Did I? Did I show them?
No, you didn't show them.
I wanted to show you. I didn't get to show you this yet. Our seed storage. So we have 4 of these. They are actually from Michael's, and they are... What are they special?
They're photo organizers.
Yeah.
So for like a 4x6 picture.
Yeah. They're seed organizers. They're the best thing in the whole world. So we have 2 for cut flowers, 2 for vegetables, and look at, you can just put all the seed packets in there.
So yeah, they just open up like that, and then we got all our seed packets here organized. So and then we label them.
Yep.
It's like corn, how you sow or seed it. So directly sow or indoors, and then a date. We also date it when we seed
indoors.
things.
Yeah. So isn't that fun? I love this. So some people do. Like shoe boxes or filing method, but this is just, for me, it just makes sense, and you can see it, it's all labeled, so I just can glance at it. I was like, oh, that's where that is.
So easy.
And it's nice if I take them outside, if it's raining, they're protected in their little package. So I love it so much. We did that last year, I think, because I've had bins of them for a long time.
So we hope this information was really helpful to you guys in making a decision about seed versus plant starts.
Yes.
For us, really, again, we do mostly plant starts, but we do both.
Yes.
So anyway, we wanted to share that with you. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.